YouTube, what up? We are back. Another pick for Week 1 NFL Sunday regular season. In this pick, we are going with the Los Angeles Chargers -3 hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a pick that hurts my soul a little bit because I do like this Raiders team. Just from a rooting for standpoint, I love Max Crosby. I like the head coach. And it's a team that I always want to see do well. I feel like it's more fun when they're doing well. And they always play the Chiefs stuff. They're just a fun team, even though the results aren't great. But we have to bet with our brains and not our hearts. And in this pick, a lot of things add up for me to like the Los Angeles Chargers in this one. You know me. First off, we got to start with the quarterbacks: Gardner, Minshew, Justin Herbert. Two different tiers there. Justin Herbert, I do think, has actually regressed a little bit in his last couple years with Staley. I mean, Staley was just a horrible coach. Hard not to regress under him. Now he's got a real coach. He has Jim Harbaugh, and he has a great OC now, is Greg Roman, who's awesome. Greg Roman is the guy that made Baltimore's offense look really good under Lamar Jackson. And I think Justin Herbert is now finally going to have a real running game behind him, which is going to make the passing game a lot easier. I know he lost Keenan Allen, and their receiving core, if you look at it on paper, it's not a bunch of household names. But if you have a good enough quarterback, that good enough quarterback can turn those unknown players into household names, or at least names that we now recognize. So I do think something like that's going to happen where I do think the rookie, though, Lad McConkey, I believe his name is, he's really good, the kid from Georgia. And one of the other guys might pop off to be decent here. But I do think just having a strong run game, well coached, Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman, it's going to open everything up for Justin Herbert. And I would not be surprised if, those couple years of regression he had the last couple years, if he gets right back on track to being the guy that we saw those first few years. The flashes, because, a lot of people think he has the arm talent and just basically he can make any throw. It's just he's one of those guys you're shocked hasn't had like a big, deep playoff run. I do think he's still, a solid quarterback. And the all that matters, though, is he's much better than Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, he's the guy that overperformed last season. He's not that good. He had a great OC in Shane Steichen. He's no longer with Shane Steichen. He's on the Raiders. And we'll see how he does, but I'm not a Minshew guy. My numbers do not have Minshew highly rated. I think it's just going to be a disappointing year for the Raiders just because of the quarterback position. At the end of the day, you could have all these other pieces that come in and the coach, the rah-rah, the this, the that. If you don't have a good quarterback, it's so hard to do well. Yes, we see it time to time where a super elite defense steps up and makes up for it, but it's generally much easier if you just have a good quarterback for the team to overall have success. It's like holding serve in tennis. You want to be the one serving. It's a lot easier to hold serve than it is to break serve and relying on your defense. So the quarterback position just isn't going to cut it. Yeah, the Colts, I think last year, I could be wrong. I think they were one game away from making the playoffs with him. Lost to the Houston Texans in that game. I don't think that was a playoff game. I think that was a game to get into the playoffs. I could be wrong on that, but point is, people are perceiving him as like, oh, he's kind of a playoff quarterback, on the bubble playoff quarterback kind of guy, and that's just not really who he is. He overperformed last season. He's a very below average quarterback. I'd probably put him in the bottom quarter of quarterbacks, and yeah, I feel good in a game where we're only laying 3 points. It's a nice number. It's kind of that insurance policy where if we only win by 3, which is very common, at least we don't lose money. It's a big difference between laying 3 and laying 3.5. That can get really annoying if you're laying 3.5. You got to really like a team to lay numbers like that. But 3, it's a nice insurance policy. Hopefully they can win this game by 4 or 7. That's kind of what we're looking to see here. And the game's at home, the game's in LA, and so we don't have to worry about being in Vegas in that loud stadium. And, those are the key points. The Chargers, Jim Harbaugh is going to have the defense a lot better than it was. It was awful under Staley, even though Staley's, this defensive guy. Staley should be working at fucking Walgreens. Staley was an absolute joke. The guy went for it on 4th and 3 on his own 20, like every time. Like the guy just doesn't understand risk management at all. So they finally have some proper leadership under there for Justin Herbert. I do think this is the best thing that ever could happen to him and that whole team. Jim Harbaugh, you saw how dominant Michigan was. I know it's college football, it's different, but you saw him with the 49ers. The guy knows how to coach. He's going to help have that defense dialed in. And I think a lot of things line up here for the Chargers. So we're going to go Chargers -3. 1 unit, value bet. A unit is 1% of your bankroll. You do not have to bet this. You can just watch me risk-free, see how it plays out. And then maybe next year, if I do well, you're like, okay, maybe I'll tag along on the picks. Totally up to you. But Chargers -3. Justin Herbert playing against shitty Gardner Minshew. Going to have a run game finally. Leadership at coaching. Harbaugh have that defense rolling. Let's get it, baby. 1 unit, Chargers -3.